So, hello everyone, welcome back again. So, this is officially, you can say, episode 4. So, today we would be discussing the new model. Like previously, we discussed about our old model of where we had rooms, and we assumed that the rooms were present in the dens which were present in the rooms was causing our suffering. We reached the conclusion that dent is the cause of all our suffering. However, one slight point which we misunderstood from that model, which we would be, implementing now, is that we could not explain a few observations, like maybe getting lost in something, lost in the sense vigorously performing that. Okay, now someone might say that I can also get lost by watching YouTube shorts. I just scroll and time goes by. Not like that, not passive action. I mean a vigorous active action. Let's say right now I'm recording this video, or let's say right now you are listening or making notes, whatever, or let's say you are singing. I mentioned all of them. Okay, so basically you are immersed deeply into something. So mm, that observation we could not explain that, how, like, we explain pain and pleasure, but how do we explain this immersion? In immersion, either you don't experience pleasure or pain, anything. Like maybe that, okay, you feel good, you feel a sense of lightness. So how do we explain that? And then also the dense may affect different people differently. Now, one counter argument to this can be that maybe my dent is this big, and the other I'm comparing with is this big. So that's why it's more effect. However, uh, let's say there is a, some animal kind of in within you. So let's say if your so-called girl passes by you, or maybe you it fits into your so-called beauty standards, right? Then what would happen is that you would feel the urge to communicate, and because basically I haven't talked about this in detail. We have a dent called animal, right? So we are also mammals, so basically we have the tendency of following animalistic characteristics. So animalistic characteristics basically mean that, I will cover this in video in this part, animal part, uh, in more detail in the later videos. However, for now you can assume it like this: it's a particular dent which is basically made for survival and reproduction. So why you need to eat at all? Because few people eat for taste, that okay, I want to eat tasty food and stuff. But why do you need the urge to eat at the first place? Why do you drink? That is because there's a dent called animal, which, for survival and reproduction. So basically what animal, that's the life of animals. Like they, eat, sleep, and reproduce, and that's it. So that is our animal dent. So if so-called beautiful girl passes by, then your this dent would get activated, right? And then you would may feel, a sense of relationship and everything. We'll come to that. But basically, a particular stimuli produces the same effect. If if talked in general, let's say for some people the sexual urge would be more, for some there would be less. I keep two very tasty uh, same dish in front of two people. Maybe that for one person, maybe that food might be, dent might be very large, for another dent might be small, but both of them would be attracted by the taste and smell of the food, and they would feel the urge to eat it, no matter how small or large. Okay, so that we could not explain that how come, like, how come they are having different effects of, like, how come they are of different, basically, is it something external that causes us to do this? Let's say you grew up in a, let's say, what example I can take? Okay, let's say you go on a walk and you meet some beggar, right? So for that beggar, what is luxury? Luxury is, let's say, what the life you are living is luxurious to him. Let's say, a homeless person, you go to him and tell what you want. He would tell that if you can give me one day's food, then I would be very happy. Basically, you can eat, like, I'm assuming that you are in a state that if you are watching this video, then you are, financially stable enough, or at least if not financially stable, then you are at least in a good place, that at least you have a device, you have a, wi-fi connection or what network that you can use to listen to my words, you can get the education. So however, if you go to that beggar or that homeless person sitting on the road, he would tell that, okay, having a home, having a family like us would be the best luxurious life possible. However, for you, some people, they have this cars, that Lamborghini, Ferrari, Bugatti, and all these, cars. Then money, then family. They all have these dents, right? So these are just nothing but just conditioning. Okay, okay. So I've just getting too much excited. I'm telling it in the first. So okay. So I have drawn this. Okay. So from the previous video, we found out that actually the dents are perhaps not in the rooms, because if it wasn't, like we, underwent some failures, like we, uh, you know, saw some limitations of the our hypothesis, which could not explain. For if you want a bit of more reference, or you might have forgotten, then you can just watch the last uh, 10-15 minutes of the previous video, and I think you would be, more than able to understand this hypothesis. Okay. So however, we found out that the dents were not in the rooms. The rooms are just the world. Like, uh, I have this, no, yeah. So I have this diary, right? So I am seeing this, green earth, right? So green art I'm seeing. So for me, it's just a diary. For, let's say, environmentalist, he will say, see, people ignore this, this is the earth, you need to think about it, you need to save earth, we are destroying earth. Obviously that's true to a great extent, that we ourselves are destroying earth, but basically the same thing holds different meanings to different persons. So if I have one educational book, yeah, so basically I am preparing for JE now, like basically I'm some examination. So I, for now, this book, this Waves and Thermodynamics, this book holds great importance to me. And also I have also a book, where it is, I think, yeah. So this was my book. I used this book when I was in class 10th. I'm just showing. So this book does not hold any much importance to me, because right now I'm in class 11th. I'm in preparing for J. So I'm doing much tougher stuff. Basically I've moved on, you can say, kind of. uh, that's why the there's a difference, that how much an object is important to me. So it's fundamentally the same object, whether this book or my class 10 book, it's just book itself. However, for now, previously, this book did not hold much value for me. However, that book did, which I just showed you, the green one. However, now as time passed, I it's my priority, or maybe you can say my attachment to this book has increased, and the other book has decreased. Basically, they are the same book. They did not change over the years. However, my mental structure changed, and I distributed my importance or priorities into categories, and I assume that that is important for me now, and this is unimportant for me now. So similarly, what happens is that the world or the rooms which we talked about are just objects, like atoms and molecules. I have written this point here, but let's just first come to it here. That the dens, however, perhaps are not in the rooms, but inside our mind, right? This so-called brain, whatever. Maybe the dens are in our mind. So I will show this example in a, particular situation. Let's say relationship. People struggle with relationships, and obviously I will not tell you that how to attract a girl, or maybe, because these are, I'll come to that. These I will talk of how this model applies to the relationship dent, and how it actually acts, right? So let's say this is a person's mind, okay, and Previously we assumed that the dents were in this room, but now perhaps the dents are not in the rooms. They are in me, or I am saying you. Like basically, they are in me means also I hope you get the point, right? So the dents are in me, like not in the room itself. The room is just a physical object made up of atoms and molecules. However, they're meaningful to me because I attach some because it's they hold any importance to me because I attach any meaning to it, right? So let's say this is your mind. Okay, so these are your dens. Let's say see, these will vary from person to person. I've just drawn a rough of for a few persons like sports, friends, money, masturbation, parents, and many others. There may be dent of school teachers and stuff, and there also may be dent of you know respect, fame, all those. They are just infinite dens, as I mentioned. So I have just written up a common dens basically which people have from the beginning, and why they have that will also I will explain. So let's say for someone who has a very loving and caring parents, so for them the parents dent is very deep, as you can see, and I hope you now understood that why the parents' dent is deep, because we kept on pouring water to it, and yeah, so we just our desire just kept deepening, right? However, the friend's dent is smaller compared to the parents' dent, but still it's larger. Okay, so let's say uh, we considered one person that who has loving parents and good friends at school also. However, let's say a person who did not experience uh, parents love at all, or let's say some person who didn't even know who his parents was. So for him or her, that dent of parents would be smaller. And let's say if in the orphanage or in a good school he finds like really great friends who stand by him, then his dent of friends would be much larger than that of the parents. Similar example is that let's say an international sports player. So he's famous. He plays very well. So for him, the sports dent would be much larger than what it is within us, right? So let's say a person, let's say a religious person who says that. Abstain from sexual urges and brahmacharya. We have this concept. I'm not criticizing here anyone. I'm just giving examples. So for them the masturbation dent would be low because they have never tried it out, or maybe they have never filled the water into it, right? However, let's say some random teenager, or maybe some, basically any reason they found more pleasure by being in this dent rather than this or this. So for that person the dent of masturbation would be larger. Okay, so I hope after all these examples you are clear. So let's just give a reading through it. You consciously choose to go into a particular room. You feel as if the room is pulling you, but actually the room is just an empty. It's just an image or illusion of the world. It is not a particular girl or boy or some fast food or luxury cars, etc. that uh, attract you. Yeah, so let's just explain this point. So we know that there is a choice factor. We talked about it in the previous video. So we know that uh, might be that under certain circumstances, maybe we are more forced to make a choice. Like let's say you don't want to go to school. However, let's say there's an important exam or maybe some important event. Then you have to go to school. Like there's a choice that I can go to school if I also cannot. I can also choose that I would not go to school. So there's a conscious choice involved at every action you take. So it's not like we've talked about that if the bell rang then we have to go. We have seen people and we have examples, and we from within ourselves we also know that anything happens, choice to is there at least. Maybe we are not talking about extreme situations. I will also tell you how to deal with that, but we know we have a choice in most of the cases. Like every action we take we have a choice. Whether we realize it or not, that's up to us. But see, and previously we also talked about we felt that if the room was pulling us, that the bell rang and we had to go to the room. However, but now we understood that the room itself is just fundamentally made up of atoms and molecules. It's the room is meaningful. Like the room is significant because we attach meaning to it. Right. So um let's take an example of a girl. Okay. So, firstly, before I take this example, I'm not trying to offend any girl audience. I'm sure that many of the girl audience would also watch this video in the future, but I'm just taking another example. So, let's say I talk about a beautiful girl. Okay. So nowadays, you can just go on Instagram and you can just go through the social media. You would find, girls exposing their body and their so-called delicate skin, and if I tell you the imagine a beautiful girl, then most of the cases, what would you imagine is that some white and tenderly skinned, good hair, and loving, caring. You would experience, like, you would visualize the girl as like that. Now if I tell you that if a very ugly girl, then what would you tell? That the very dirty and wearing rags, slum children. See, I'm not criticizing some children, like the people of the slum. Obviously they are in great poverty, I know, and also because of their less maintenance they look shabby and not so attractive. But you should not try to take it as an insult. I'm just giving it as a point, right? I don't really want to offend any girls, like, because my goal here is to uplift the youth and uplift the especially the girls, because they are suppressed much. uh, I can give a few examples, like, let's say marriage. People nowadays, they like government after banning this dowry system, they take unofficial Dahej, whatever that is called. So these are all, we'll come to it. But today the topic of the video is very important, so we should discuss it now. Maybe the next video we can talk about relationship and marriages, right? So, anyways, so if we consciously choose to go into a particular room, we now know this because that's our choice. You feel as if the room is pulling you, but actually the room is just empty. Yeah, as I mentioned again, the same thing has been mentioned, that we think that the room is pulling us. Now, for me, this diary is just empty. I have written nothing. As you can see, it's just empty. Whole diary is empty. So I have no value for it. If I lose this also, for currently I don't have any value. But let's say I want to start something new, then I would hold the value, that because I need a new diary. However, this diary I have written down. This notes which I'm basically teaching you. So uh, this diary holds very great value for me now. So basically all this. So if I lose this diary, then obviously I would be finding it difficult to teach you. So it's not that it's not that the diary itself is something, this diary is better, that diary is not better. It's not like that. They are just objects. But I have written in that and some important stuff, so I need that more right now. So that's why that diary attracts me more. Do you know why? Because I have attached importance to it. I myself have written down on it. Please, excuse my stuttering because I am, like, so excited to teach. So that's why. See, if I had written down these notes in this diary instead of this diary, then I would prefer this, because now, if then this would be empty and I would not need it now. So yeah, so I hope you understand it. We feel as if the room is pulling us, but actually the room is just empty or illusion of the world. Okay, let's go on to the. Can't you see that they're completely objective? The object in question in a particular increase of interest only because of the meanings we attach to them. All boys don't have same crush. Yeah. Okay. So let's say you study in a school or college. It's not that a single girl, maybe sometimes it might happen that the girl is beautiful, but again, that's the sense of beautiful is again, you know, a dent implanted on us. So, anyways, so let's say let's say we have three boys, B1, B2, B3. All boys don't have same crush means there's only one girl, G1, let's say. So, let's say there are 50 such boys. So maybe two, three boys have crush on this particular girl. However, it's utterly impossible that each and every of the 50 boys have crush on her. Like, might be they appreciate that, okay, she looks beautiful and she looks, stunning and all those stuff. They tell, they might try to flirt, but it's really that, see, otherwise it does not happen. Like, let's say, uh, a very famous celebrity, I'm forgetting the name. She is like, acted in a, few movies, and she had very good manners and good looks by the dent of Hollywood. So uh, like, I personally admire her a lot, because I was also, I am not telling that I am perfect. I am also, you know victim of this dent. And how did I become the victim of this dent? I would also explain that. And how do anyone become victim of the dents? I would also explain that. So, however, like, that same actress might be some other people also might have the, like, crush on the same actress. However, every, like, 4 billion persons on earth, like 4 billion men, will not have the same, crush, that same actress as the crush. They will have, let's say, someone from the school, or maybe some other actress, whatever. So that's why I'm telling that we this dance this anything in this world, they hold me, they are any importance to us because we attach meanings to them. Let's say some distant person, like, you don't know, in maybe I live in India, so let's say some person maybe in USA, Canada, some, you know homeless person in USA, Canada, they die. And obviously obviously any news would not be given because that's a very trivial matter. I would not feel, very much sad. Obviously, if I hear that, okay, he had no one to help, then that, of course, we would blame the humanity, like, why people are so ruthless. However, until and unless I know, I have no, feelings towards that man. Feeling in the sense, now don't take me wrong, feelings towards, I mean, any emotions, that crying, that, oh, he died. However, let's say my own family member dies of maybe the same age. However, I will cry then, or maybe I will experience pain because I have attached meaning, or I have attached a sense of attachment to that particular dent in our mind. So, this is all in our mind. But remember one thing, that is, so people might ask, so is this real? Like, in our mind, does this really go on? See, it's not really, like, it's not physically, not that okay, your mind, there's some dense, obviously it's not that. The brain, there is, meninges and the fluid and all. If you study biology, you can understand what I'm saying. So basically, this is a, you can consider our brain or mind as a round ball. This is only in metaphorical sense, and the round ball has some dents, hammered on it. So I hope you are clear. The object, all the world fundamentally is made up of atoms and molecules. I have specified this point here as I am emphasizing it more and more, because I am just repeating the same stuff over and over again, because it's very crucial you understand this. Because, see, you watch some, let's say, a YouTuber, let's say, that's not a very good example. Again, that diary example I'm giving, but I know it feels a bit repetitive, and also I'm not trying to take any more, beauty standards example, because that would also offend many people. However, I've taken an example here. Okay, a picture of kissing couple, right? So there's a picture. I don't have any picture of it. Like, yeah. So let's say there's a picture of kissing a couple in front of us, like maybe after marriage or something. How would the various people react to it? Okay, some people would say, "Oh wow, right? So beautiful, cute, like loving. They look very, immersed, and they look awesome." Or like this kind of expressions, the people, some people give, especially in girls. Like, not all girls. I'm not talking. I'm just talking in general, that they will say, "Oh, it's so pretty." Yeah. uh, and then some, with some, this will trigger the past experiences. Like, let's say you had a relationship maybe you kissed and all those stuff you do, and let's say she, you know, broke up with you, and now you are just suffering from depression. So if you come across this photo now, then it would trigger the past experiences and traumas that she left me, and you would know, you would think about how much pain she gave me, and you would curse the other person who took your girlfriend, right? So a relationship is a big topic, big, like many teenagers and many, not even teenagers, like teenagers, so it's like more like hormonal changes, but even in adults they face a lot of problem with relationship issues. So we will talk about it, like how about this particular dent model will apply to it. So okay, so some, for some it will trigger some past experiences. Some people would say disgusting, offensive. So basically some people, forgot the name of a disease. The people, the person, a billionaire had it, I think, in the very like 1990s. Like he, was afraid. He would just cover himself everywhere. He would like cover himself from head to toe because he did not want to get exposed to anything, because he feared that germs would come. Obviously germs would come and he would get ill. So basically he just enclosed himself so that nothing could touch him. He just, I think he wore some wrappers or stuff, whatever. So for some people, let's say disgusting, like what are they doing? They're just kissing each other, germs are going, transferring from one's mouth to another. Some people will also have this view, no doubt, disgusting, offensive. And some people, it would like activate their dent, and they would, long for the water to come in. Like maybe if I could have a partner, then I could kiss with my partner and have fun with her, right? Some companionship. Now, just leave all of this behind. Like whatever you think may be cute, maybe disgusting, or whatever. What is it? Just open your eyes. Clearly, the photograph is just a printed sheet, atoms and molecule. The photograph is same as this printed sheet. This just maths, some maths and problems are written there. So it's just same thing. It's just same atoms and molecules, maybe with a different color and the mix, so that, you know some hue is illuminated, or maybe some editing has been done. That's why. But that's it. That's all. Atoms and molecules. However, the same thing, you know, induces a sense of companionship in some disgustness, displeasure, and some, for some it triggers past traumas, and for some, they think, yeah, it's cute, pretty. So I hope you understand, because the world fundamentally at these rooms, these rooms are just fundamentally the objects. They're just atoms and molecules. They have any meaning to us because we ourselves attach some importance to it. Like we think that, okay, this is important, that's why it's meaningful for me. For the same person, might be that thing is not important, so it's not meaningful for him. So that's all the plan. That's all the game of the dance, right? It's just this in your mind which you have. I can just emphasize it more, but if I could, I would have done it. Anyways, so how it works. Now I have taken up an example that how exactly. Now previously our model could not explain that memory, intellect, and reflex, and then hormones. We cries at some points, traumas trigger, and we some memory shifts and all those that happen. We previous model we only talked about rooms and us, but we did not talk about the other things. However, now this model explains it. So, firstly, this is the step one. How it works? Like you see an object, and then how do you proceed? That how do you proceed that whether there's any meaning attached to it or not? Okay, let's say let me use a different size here. So one, let me use a different color as well. Yeah. So number one, external stimuli, let's say pornographic content or some photo, etc. The similar example I took, picture of kissing couple, or maybe you can take any other example. Let's say you find a very exposed image of some celebrity or maybe some person, and you get triggered by that. So your eyes see and your nose smell. How can you smell a photo? Of course you can smell a photo, but these are this is the basically these are the sense organs, right? Sense organs, so. So basically, the external stimuli acts on the sense organs. So you can think like this. Take another example. Let's say you have a bowl of food, tasty food on it, and someone brings that food over in front of your desk, and you see it, and you see that okay, this is the tasty food, and you smell it. Then there the smell factor works. But I don't know how in photo how can you smell. Maybe I don't think it's possible to smell in a photo, but whatever. Anyways, so but let's say you are in a school, or maybe you come across your crush, and maybe you like your crush's perfume. I know this is very weird example. I know it's just getting repetitive, but it's very important. I am just trying to gather more and more, common examples so that you feel relatable. So basically, the external stimuli acts on the sense organs, and these sense organs sends electronic signals to the brain, basically electronic impulse. For this, need to study a bit of biology and neuroscience, that how exactly our signal travels. If I tell you in brief, basically there's a neuron, the axon of one neuron connect with the, let's leave it. Yeah, so basically here is just a, maybe you can say, neuron, this stuff. And then these are the dendrites, and then again another neuron is there, and basically synapse and all that. You have to study biology, uh, like you need to know about the world, right? So anyway, so basically it sends signals to the brain, and there's a sense of input. As you can see, I've written here, there is input in your brain, that okay, this, I've registered this tasty food, or I have registered this photo, so now what to do next? So that input would act on, let's say, the dent of masturbation. Because let's say you want to masturbate, and you have, come across pornographic material, so now you would feel the urge to masturbate. So now what would happen, this mind would release hormones and bodily sensations. Some sensation down there, and some feel like you will feel that I will be happy forever once I do this. So some hormones, serotonin, and they would be released, dopamine. Yeah, so they would be released. And see, serotonin and dopamine are very common hormones, and there are much more. We ought to know more about them. Be- because if we want to clearly understand everything, we need to have the knowledge of both us and the world itself. Right. So anyways, so this input, this dent activates, and this dent releases hormones and bodily sensations. Excuse me. So now, along with this, what it does is it puts thoughts in our mind, that let's say you come across a exposed, what can I say, exposed picture of any person, and you feel the sensation of masturbation, like let's say you feel very, suddenly erect, or so-called restlessness down there. So it, the mind would also put thoughts in your brain, like it will put thoughts in your mind. Basically, this input, this dent activates, and this dent releases the bodily hormones and sensations, and then it also puts the thoughts in your mind. So what would the thoughts do? The thoughts would attack you, like, and will say, just do it. Oh, I've written here. I thought I didn't written here. Yeah. This thought will tell you, just do it, pleasure. Eat tasty food before anyone does. So let's say you are insecure that, okay, your brother or maybe your mother might eat it. So you say, no, no, I need to eat it first. I need to just experience the pleasure. I need it. Maybe you say, oh, let's do it. Let's just do the masturbation. I will feel so good. I will feel so released. I will feel pleasure, absolute, you know, that ultimately again you would be again stuck in that same loop of why did I do this, and guilt trap. But still, suddenly you will forget everything, and this dent would put thoughts in your mind. And let's say this is the dent, and the dent would just attack with thoughts that do this, do that, it's important. If you don't do this, then you will die. This kind of arguments it can also give. So now, in the tent, however, we realized that we have a choice. So now I might have asked, sir, where is the choice? Because if external stimuli comes, eyes will obviously see. Sense organs have to sense. That's their job. And obviously there would be some electronic signals sent to our brain. And the input would also be there, and then has to be activated, because Of course, the dent will be activated because we need to fix it. So dent will be activated, and hormones will be released, and our body will experience sensations. And also, again, we would experience thoughts that do this, do that. So where is the option in there, sir? Like, bro, where is the option? Here is the option. The dent can only give you thoughts, but whether you would choose to act upon those thoughts or not, it's up to you. I have written it here. Thoughts or action. Take action or not, it's up to you. Choice. The choice factor we mentioned now comes into play. Now, obviously, let's say I someone slaps me on my cheek, and obviously I would experience pain, and my hormones would be released. I would feel anger, like why did she hit me or why did he hit me? I did nothing. I was just sitting, and thought would arise. Okay, let me hit him or her back, or maybe let's say I argue that why are you hitting? So these are the thoughts, but whether you choose to argue or whether you choose to hit is up to you. Now, I know it's very difficult part because the choice comes so late. But now you indeed do have the choice. You have the right to select whether you want to take action or not. Because Dent cannot, believe me, Dent cannot force you to do actions, because if it could have forced you, then the only thing which would have happened is that whenever any trigger came, every people on earth, anyone, would just go into the room directly. They would not stop. However, we see people who say we are controlling. We are, in a diet. Let's say you are trying to build physique, and let's say you are on a diet. So if they see a tasty food, then obviously they will feel that okay, they will also have the thoughts that okay, eat it. It would be tasty. It would feel, relieve you. You will feel relaxed. But they know I am working for something great. I am working for my physique. So they have a conscious choice whether they want to take the action or not. Even after that, if the thoughts lose, like if the thoughts win, that maybe thoughts can even go extreme. They even may tell that okay, you have done so much, so many days you have abstained from junk food. So why not just take the junk food for once? Now maybe it's over a month, so please take it. Why not? To this extent, like very very dangerous and very very manipulative thoughts it would put into you. However, it's up to you, like you yourself. You have the choice to whether you want to select the action or not, whether you want to perform any action or not. So this was today's video. A bit longer it went because I had to explain a bit, like a typical 30 minutes. It went beyond 30 minutes, but it's just I hope you have learned a lot. And now I am sure that you would also have certain queries and doubts in your mind. But let's leave it for today. You go through it, you self observe yourself and see if exactly what is this, like exactly if this happens to you or not, and let me know. And the next video we would talk about relationships. We will apply this how it works on an example, a real life example, say relationships, because it's a very trending topic and very important to discuss as well. So we would discuss this uh, model on the relationship itself. Like let's say your girlfriend comes, and let's you see your girlfriend talking with another male guy, or maybe someone from you find your partner talking with another person of the other opposite gender. Exactly, we previously know that the then becomes insecure and stuff, and it something would happen beyond that basically. I know you might feel a bit confused, but it's really really exciting. Believe me, I assure you that you won't feel any boredness in there. uh, so let's just end it for today and see you in the next video, and we will come up with this relationship example, and we will apply this model on to that, and then things will be more clear. So goodbye for now. Bye.